simplicity here on this fine spring equinox, and I felt like it was the perfect time to drop in for a quest read because we are going to have a pretty action-packed period coming in here. This is when all the energy starts quickening and really moving, leading us up to the summer season. We're going to have 3 full moons on deck, and it gives us a perfect opportunity to initiate into another cycle of the Elven Star and that quest for the 4 jewels of the TUATHA DANNAN. So I thought, let's just dive into it. I'm going to do it a little bit differently here. I got some guidance to open up with some additional points of interest since we are at the cross quarter point, and it is quite significant, especially in terms of those who walk the way of fairy. So we're going to bring in some added details here. I'm first opening up with the white light oracle, since this is the time that the light is growing. And we're going to check out the general nature of the energy signature that's coming in for the collective this spring season with this equinox here, and just get sort of a general overview, and then we'll fill in the gaps with some different details. So you can consider this sort of like an expanded overarching theme before we dive into the quest read here. So let's see what we got coming in here. Bottom of the deck, Bath Coal. Yes, I love all the egg imagery coming through here. This is a time of gestation of what will crack through that shell and come into being in the world. This is the point where you gather all the treasures that you've gleaned through your time in the shadow and integrating the experiences that you've already been through. This is a time of new potential. It's also a time when we are needing to vigilantly guard the new growth, because in its initial stages, at its initial inception point, is when it's at its most tentative. It's also when it's at its greatest height of vulnerability. So there is a need to be aware of what could cancel out this new growth that you have your sights set on. 2:44 on the clock. So there is a lot that is coming into alignment right now that will be the seeds of what comes to fruition in the future. But it is very important to not sort of take these new beginnings, these new inspirations and opportunities that are coming your way for granted or as a given, because there will be challengers. There will be things that are questing for the very thing that you have your sights set on. Some people like to harvest the dreams of others, and so this is something that you do need to be aware of. The message of X marks the spot coming through again. This still needs attention. If you have not dropped in on that download, you should. There's details there. And it's something that's at the root of the matter that really does need to be resolved in this situation. Coming in with the number 8 at 3:44 on the clock, there is important communication that comes through tapping the roots that can either make or break your manifestation. So this is something that you do need to be aware of and clue into. And you'll almost notice it looks like behind that X that's coming through there, it looks like there is an eye. And so I do feel like somebody has their eyes on the same prize. They also may be keeping an eye on you as you are very busy, sort of gestating the dreams that will become the fulfillment of the future. And so this is something you need to be aware of. Even as you're getting to work here, there is perhaps somebody who's trying to work you a little bit, you know, get a view of where you're heading here. And so there is this mindfulness too about warding our dreams, protecting what's dear to us. Okay, let's see what comes through here. Guidance about the energy signature coming in for the collective for this quest that opens up with the spring season. We will have a full moon that will be coming in Libra on April 12th. We will have a full moon then coming in Scorpio on May 12th, and we'll have a full moon coming in Sagittarius to close out this particular spring cycle on June 11th. They are not eclipses, okay? Eclipse season doesn't resume until after the new moon, partial solar eclipse in Aries, which is going to take place on the 29th, okay? And then it will resume in September. On September 7th through 8th, we will have a lunar eclipse to mirror the Pisces total lunar eclipse we had on the 13th. I got that that's an important juncture point there. Okay, this will be a partial lunar eclipse, also in Pisces, going down September 7th through 8th. And then the next one comes in on September 27th, and it's a partial solar eclipse to sort of mirror the energy of the solar eclipse that will come in. I'm getting ahead of myself. That comes in Aries on the 29th of March, okay? The one that comes in on September 21st is in the sign of Virgo that is currently in the South Node position. Oh, I love this. See? The light is returning. We have the sun coming in here. So the nature is reclaiming that dawn, maybe a dawn that we felt slipped beyond the horizon and went out of view. 6:44 on the clock, but perhaps that wasn't the vision for your future that you thought it would be. And there's something to see here, something that will be illuminated for you as the light continues to build during this cycle. This is an opportunity to truly reclaim the dawn. We do have a Hertz frequency coming in here, 417 Hertz. So this is a Hertz frequency that you can tune into that can align you with this energy signature coming in spring equinox. Comes in with the number 16. This gives me the vibes of the Tower of Power. There's already been something that was leveled. We do have this sense that the collective feels maybe dawn passed them by, but this isn't the case at all. It's more that that was an illusion, or you could see it as a necessary confusion that had to be journeyed through because it was somewhat of a mirage, or like a mock-up of what you thought was your destination based on a past incarnation of yourself. Yes, incarnation, because many of you are sort of having a reboot on that level, like you're feeling like a brand new person. You see things very differently. Some of you have had a complete identity shift. You don't relate to who you used to be. You are figuring out who you're becoming right now. All right. So it is a bit shocking. It is a bit of a shock of the new. It is a bit awakening as you move into this season, and as things start to roll out, you're going to notice you feel very differently about things that are kind of coming at you here. And also, you're becoming very aware of your roots. This does look like such a connection of roots. And see, there's something very precious here. There's a treasure here, and something that needs to be nourished because it's just starting to generate light in your life. In other words, it's just starting to break through the ground of your being where it can come into your material reality. So you do need to be vigilant here, even as the light is building, because the brighter the light, the darker the shadow. 911 on the clock, yes. You know, anything can. There was a little interruption there. Do you see what I mean? These energies are still out there. It's natural. I'm getting a lot happening on this end. I don't know if that will transfer over to you all. Oh, see, something like kicked me offline there for a moment. Let's see, I'm recording this. So hopefully it won't transfer over to your end. But if it does, it just highlights the message even more, that as the light starts to build in our lives. 7 on the clock here. Eastern Standard Time, okay? There's something about this. Like, even as you start to move forward and the light starts to build in your life, there are energies out there that will oppose that, you know? Energies that are noticing that the old ways don't work anymore. There is a need to move into expansion, do things differently here. But I like that the Hertz frequencies are coming out. We have another Hertz frequency that's coming in here with the number 13 and Bastet 174 Hertz. So I do recommend you tune into these Hertz frequencies. They can be really helpful just to align you with the energy coming in, so it can really be harmonized for you. You'll notice the sun there as well. So this is definitely a lot of light building, and I just saw a flock of 5 birds fly from the south up to the north. So yes, the change is coming. The change is coming. Something has been transformed. And I do feel like you went through a really heavy cycle, but see, there's that potential, that treasure, something you're just stating in your heart is getting wings here. Ooh, I love it. It's getting wings. It's getting ready to take flight and land in that North Node, stone of destiny position, but you still need to ward it a bit here. You still need to ward it a bit because there are others who would like to get their hands on such a prize. And yet you can't necessarily hold such power, I'm hearing, unless it's yours to hold. So that is very interesting, but that doesn't stop people from trying. And it brings to mind the whole story of the stealing of Thor's hammer and the way that Loki had to borrow the cloak, the falcon cloak of Freya, to go and pull a little ruse to get their hands back on it, because that hammer that brings the Tower of Power is buried deep, deep, deep in the iron layer cores of the earth. And the only way that they sort of bargained to get it back, even though it was stolen, okay, somebody stole the power. The giants stole the power, but in order to get it back, they said, well, you know, if we can have Freya, if we can have Freya as our wife, well, then we can cut a deal here. And so Loki said, here, let me take care of this. And Loki, the trickster, came in and was able to sort of cross-dress as Freya and was able to get it in. And there was a big adventure that unfolded. But ultimately, the power was restored and put back in the hands of the person who was meant to hold it. And I do feel like this is a bit of this scenario. Somebody might have tried to strip you of a certain power by nefarious means, and then they might have tried to cut a deal with you in order for you to get back something that was rightfully yours. Or this is something that will be coming in. But I feel with Bast here, this is about you not sort of being overtaken by any fears that are being projected onto your reality tunnel. You don't need to accept those filters, because what I see is your view looks pretty clear. Some new beginning here already has wings. The sun is already shining on the road ahead for you. There's a certain momentum, you could say, that's working in your favor, and you're meant to embrace more pleasure and more enjoyment and just the sensory experience of being alive. You're meant to come back to life again and really indulge in the feast of senses that is about to be sprawled out before you. I do feel like you are going to have a lot more options than you did in the past. Mainly because something had gone missing and it took you some time to find it. And you may have felt that it was stripped of you from another, or was hidden from you by another or others. But there's something you're about to discover here that whatever was stripped or whatever was concealed from you is something that wasn't the real thing all along. It was a bit of Loki working that trickery. It was something that veiled the true intention of what spirit has planned for you at this point. It's been with you all along. It was there. It's like the fairy took one of those jewels and they tucked it in your heart for safekeeping, because those who would try to strip you of this power would never look there. And while it's been hidden there, concealed there, it's something that's been gestating, it's been building in strength, and its light is just about to break through you into the world. And it's a feast for the senses. But this is about entering a much more playful time, a much more spirited time in your life. And I am getting a lot of like Leo energy around this. So I feel like Leo season, this is when the light of this really breaks through you into the world. And it's a feast for the senses. That's how it's coming through. And with this, we have to cap it all off. The sacrament of extreme unction. So see, this is the activation point. The light will come through you into the world. It's like you're becoming a bit like that miraculous chalice. So there's a lot of inspiration coming in, but there's also a lot of directive coming in. It's not about looking outside of you for your direction at this time, because the energy that you need to propel you forward is all going to be generated within, but it's like it's pouring through you. And this is a point of unction here. It's also a point of flowering. And I'm seeing so many symbols coming through here. I mean, we see the crescent moon here. That makes me think of the new moon coming in, that will be the partial solar eclipse in Aries on the 29th, is an important unction point for you. This is when something's really going to light up for you. It's when the vision gets hatched and it's in its initial stages. This also reminds me of like daffodil blooms, you know, just as they're starting to come in. And I actually saw some the other day when I was walking. So this is something that's just in its beginning stages of growth here. But whatever is coming to grow here, it has a perfume to it. You know what I mean? Narcissus, it has such a scent and it's undeniable. And so something here like, you know, Pathfinder medicine, okay? There are others here who perhaps are trying to pick up the scent of the trail that you're stepping on here. They can smell it. It's almost giving me vibes of like, you know, the smell of success, like you're reaching some major extreme unction point on the path that you've been on. And everything is just about to break through the ground of your being. And this is where you're really focused. But there still needs to be some mindfulness, right? The brighter the light, the darker the shadow, the deeper the shadow. And sometimes when there's a lot of light building in our lives, we can be distracted from that because we're just so glamored by this glimmery thing, you know, that showed up on our path, that we can ignore the opposite. You know, I think of this energy with the crescent, it's like high priestess energy too. And it's very interesting because I was looking at the full moons and the different times that they were going to be coming in. The final full moon that arrives is in Sagittarius on June 11th. It comes in at 3:44 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You break that down, it comes to the number 11, which is both justice or sometimes strength in the tarot. Break it down further, and we arrive at 2, the high priestess. So that's sort of the cap off point with these full moons coming in. And I think that this is what this is really speaking to, the activation point of that. So this is sort of
the potential of what's opening up with this energy signature that you need to get aligned with here. It's not about ignoring the signposts and what they're trying to show you, okay? But it's also about being mindful of the fact that we're just in the beginning stages of eclipse season, and we won't really see the reverberation of those effects until we arrive in the fall in September. Okay, so remember, hindsight's always better than foresight, but there's a way that you can activate this now by just being mindful of these basic principles. And yes, focusing on bringing the self into a state of balance, even as you are protecting this special treasure you carry in your heart. And it's interesting here. There's a crowning jewel up here as well. So yes, we have like the 4 jewels. The 4 jewels are being hatched here, and I feel like this point of the sun really breaking through. There's something that comes to fruition there. You'll be very aware of what this is by the time we arrive at that full moon on June 11th at 3:44 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the sign of Sagittarius. It's a big jump off point that will sort of set the tone for the summer season. So all this energy is leading up to that point there. I do want to get a look at what we need to alchemize here as we move through the spring season. So we're going to use this gold foil tarot, bottom of the deck. Do you see? There is this energy of strength indicative there. There is a true path of heart that's coming into alignment. 2 of Cups energy. Also, there is potential partnership, ally energy coming in here as well. Could have past association, could require the overcoming of challenges faced in the past in order to regain the strength and power of this connection or this path of heart, this path of purpose. All right, so that's sort of the basis of the matter there. Let's get a little deeper look at this here, get some more details coming in. It's a true spring day out here. I have to say the weather's been bouncing back between the light breaking through and then storm clouds gathering. There even was a flurry of snow earlier, so it's kind of like all over the map right now. And I do feel like that's the energy at this time too. There's a little bit more stirring with this particular spring equinox, I feel. It's like there's a lot of teeming of life, but it's still sort of undecided how it wants to take form. And a lot of that is up to you. So it's about really harnessing these energies, balancing them within yourself. And even as you're focusing on building that light, not negating that the shadow has power too. And that the shadow is still there, always will be, because it is the balance of life. So hold both in equal measure. That means don't become so glamored by the potential for the future that you toss aside the wisdom of the lessons learned and traveling through the dark, searching for the star. Okay, this kind of energy coming in here. We got 3 of Cups, bottom of the deck energy. So there is going to be a source of celebration coming in here. There is this sort of spirited energy. There's also healing on offer. Again, this could be in relation to something that will require strength in order to bring it into balance. But it's possible. I do feel like there will be a successful completion here with the world showing up on the bottom of the deck. First, there's a need to move out of such a fixed position. There's something that needs to be seen more clearly in order to really open up to the potential of the new cycle that's coming in here. And I say that because this card that flew out in reverse. So let's see what this is. Yeah, see, it's not time to take an action yet. With the Page of Wands in reverse. And I am really equating this with that full moon in Sagittarius because this does tend to be a Sagittarian card with the Page of Wands. So it's not time yet to take an action or to set things in motion. This is the foundation. There's something that needs to be understood first before there can be a moving forward, a stepping into this future that does promise a lot of building of life, a lot of success, an arrival point, happiness. But there's a need to wait a minute here, because something needs to be understood that currently isn't seen because there's too fixed of a position. Let me do a cut of the deck on this to get some more details. But the time will come to move forward with the Nine of Wands. And I think right now it's sort of saying just temper your impulses a little bit. There can be the desire with the building of this fresh energy coming in to just like brace ahead, because maybe for the first time in a while you're starting to feel life flow back into you, or there's a sense of enthusiasm that's starting to come over you, or you just have an inspiration period where you may have felt like none coming in for a while. But this is also about, hold your horses a little bit here to really get a clear view, because it's not quite time yet. Look at that with the Four of Swords here, and that is the truth. So we arrive at the first jewel of the TUATHA de DANNAN, which is Fragorok, the answerer. It not only provides one with the truth, but it also can get the answers one needs if you pull it from its sheath and you direct it at the right source. Okay, so this is something that you need to understand here. There may be a truth that you need to uncover, and you may have not been looking in the correct direction. You need to make sure that you are looking in the correct direction, and also that you've arrived at a certain personal truth, which I feel you might need some answers to arrive at. So this is why we open with Fragorok, that sword of truth, the answer. Once you get that, then it merges with the will, it merges with the ability to take action, and then you obtain the Spear of Lu. But we're not there yet, okay? We are not there yet. And the first full moon that comes in after that new moon in Aries, which is really the jump off point for this quest, that new moon, partial solar eclipse going down on March 29th, that is like the gateway of entry there. That will open up the lunar cycle that leads up to the first full moon, which will be in Libra. And that one's going to arrive on the scene at 8:22 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on April 12th. It's attuned to the energy of 3, the Empress. So we know that there is a lot on offer here. A lot of creativity, a lot of abundance, a lot of growth, a lot of new beginnings coming in here. But it's not time yet, you see. First, a certain truth needs to be discovered, all right? And when that's discovered, it will be rested upon. So I do feel like this is speaking of not taking any action just yet. Not now. Not now. A little more time needs to pass before this road opens up. And you'll know when it's time to act. What's behind this Four of Swords? I have to look. Yeah, see, if you rush ahead, you're only going to burden yourself, and you're going to make the way ahead a lot more challenging and difficult than it needs to be, because there's going to be all kinds of cleanup work you're going to have to do. 28:44 on the clock. You don't need to revisit that. It doesn't need to be that complicated. You just need to wait for the answers you need to arrive. They will arrive on the scene, and then you'll be able to successfully complete an old cycle and step through that point of initiation that will be arrived at with that first full moon in Libra, okay, coming in on April 12th. Then you can issue your communications, you can take your actions, or perhaps by then somebody will finally be able to move toward you and issue a certain communication, right? All right, let's see what the fairy have to say about this. I want to get a little other guidance. I got a brand new deck. It's one I hadn't seen before. It's called the Fairy Tarot, and it's so fairy. Yes, there is work to be done. The fairy do want you to know there is work to be done. 8 of Bells. It's in alignment with 8 of Pentacles energy. I do feel like there is transformation that's underway. We do have a couple butterflies here. There may be transformation that's underway for two. Again, you could be coming into alignment with somebody who is meant to join you in this next leg of the journey. This could be anyone from a lover to a dear friend to some kind of spiritual ally. It can even be a teacher that is coming onto your path. But right now, it's not quite time yet, okay? There's still some security measures that need to be put in place in order for this transformation to truly take off, in order for that vision of your heart to realize its full potential, where it does get those wings and takes flight. There is this message here about that piece is really important to pay attention to certain details so you can have a strong foundation. It just wards the security of something as best as can be achieved. Okay, there's always the nature of insecurity just because life is temporal. Okay, one thing we can always count on is change is always going to be part of the picture. Nothing stays stagnant, but to the best of our ability, we can put certain measures in place to avoid interference or prevent something from grounding us just as we're preparing to take off here. There is this like little impious character here that's trying to tug on this butterfly that wants to take flight, as these two here are focusing on certain details, certain security measures that they're putting in place. So be aware of this, all right? Be aware of this energy. It is something to be mindful of here. I'm just going to shift these like this. I think I'm going to shift these like this. See if I can keep these decks intact a little bit longer. See, switch it up. Maybe you're thinking about going about something in a certain way and you can arrive at some truth, or there's some kind of information coming in that will make you go, you know what, instead of doing it that way, let me do it this way. It's got that kind of feel to it. I also feel like it may seem, at first glance, like, oh, that's just like a little thing or a small detail. It's not. It actually plays a very important role. So give time for that action you need to take to become very clear. Don't just sort of say, oh, well, I did this before. So yeah, with that, just had 4 birds flying to the north again from the south. So that does make me think about like the foundation of something and how it is really essential to transform things in that area. Like there was something faulty in your foundation, and then we get back to that X marks the spot download. Something that's affecting the roots. I feel like that matter has not been addressed yet, and you need to look at it. So do tune into that download. I'll also put a card for it on this read for you all. All right, let's see what we got here. Bottom of the deck energy. Oh, yes. See, because something was lost. Something was lost. Something was supposed to come into fruition. There's 2 acorns that are laying on the ground, and this whole situation here is in shadow with the 5 of hearts, which represents the cups energy. So something has been lost here. And acorns are supposed to be able to get some roots, and then they grow into those mighty oaks. They grow into those trees of knowledge, also giving trees. I'm hearing legacy energy as well. And something was lost. The dawn was lost. It seemed to disappear, but really it's an optical illusion. And as I'm saying this, it's like, here come the storm clouds blotting out the sun. It's been shining through most of the day. So yes, there's something here that's still shrouded. It's still concealed. It's still hidden. And it's something that does affect the rooting of this vision that you're going to be hatching here, that brings so much happiness and light into your world. It's interesting because we have this boy here and he's on a knee and he's kissing her hair. Kissing her hair. And I'm hearing something come through with this. It's like an apology saying, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I assumed you needed rescue. It's like somebody didn't see somebody's strength. Somebody didn't acknowledge the power that somebody held. They didn't recognize their own ability maybe to rise up, take a stand for themselves or achieve something for themselves. They felt in some way that an individual was not capable or they lacked in some regard or that they didn't have some kind of power. They saw them as disadvantaged or somehow vulnerable. And it's almost like a recognition, like seeing the position that somebody truly holds. Somebody is wanting to express this. How maybe they were seeing you through a faulty lens too. Something that clouded their vision. Interesting. Okay, let's see what comes out here. Tell us more, fairy. Tell us more about this fairy. What do we need to know about this fairy? Tell us more. What do we need to know about this fairy? Tell us more. Okay. Ah, look at that. Lovers on the bottom of the deck. Okay. It's very sweet in this deck. There's no choice that needs to be made. The choice is clear. The path is clear. I feel like the path is clear once something at the root level is addressed with. It really involves seeing something accurately, something that hasn't been seen accurately. What is this card we have here? Oh, yes. And with that, we have death. And right by Death's scythe, we also have the bat. So it will be a time of rebirth. See, we're not here yet. We're not here yet. This is the territory we're moving through right now, leading up to that new moon. Right? So right now, it's like separating the wheat from the chaff. What stays, what goes. This is a new cycle. What do I want to bring with me into this new cycle? What do I need to allow to fall away? And there is need for transformation here. We see the snake hanging out in the water. So some kind of emotional transformation, something that needs to transform on more of that level of the Neptunian energy. So something that's an illusion or has been a source of glamour or confusion that could be generated from something that's been operating subconsciously for too long that is influencing the sway of the emotions. And if the emotions are very much activated, it absolutely influences the effect our manifestations have, because nothing will fuel a vision or a manifestation more than it being backed by an intensity of emotion. There's also the piece here that somebody could have been working with your emotions in this way to sway your ability to create certain outcomes for yourself. It can be quite a tool. There could be some element of this operating in a situation, a manipulation of the emotions that is now coming to an end. I feel because a certain truth is going to be seen, and that provides rest. It like resolves some kind of mental turbulence, emotional distress here, or confusion that makes matters very clear. And that's what brings about the rebirthing energy. But right now, we got death on the scene. We have the Grim Reaper on the scene that's clearing away the old brush from the road ahead. This is the territory we're moving into, leading up to the new moon. partial solar eclipse in Aries on the 29th, and there's like a crossing energy here. So let's see what we got. Oh, and look at that. Absolutely. We got the Hanged Man. Hanged Man kind of hanging out in liminal space there, coming in that crossed sort of position. It's like, have you reflected enough? Have you looked deeply enough into the waters to actually allow them to cleanse your vision so you can see something anew? And then from there, look, it's almost like you can kind of just float forward here. You float forward with ease. And I see here, look at this. So this particular hangman tried to cut themselves down, but there was no way that they could cut through the need for them to be in this position of getting a certain reflection, you know, that's only possible by staying still, by having your action impeded here. It broke the blade of the knife. So there's something false here, and that's what's been blocking the road, blocking the way forward here. This is a karmic matter, something that does need transformation. They are holding the serpent here in their hand. They're clutching the serpent. But see, you can't clutch a serpent like that, because it will turn and bite you at some point. So there's something that needs to be transmuted here, and whatever magic was in that mojo bag has been spilled, right? So this is sort of the energy that's holding things up. There's a certain reflection that's needed here, so an old energy that's been inhibiting forward motion can be cleansed away. All right, so energies that we've had come in up to this point, we have Gemini, we have Pisces, we have Scorpio, we have Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, all right? So the energies on the board so far. And then I wanted to get an ally in the form of a plant ally, and also some guidance from that ally to support us in moving forward here. Oh, I see. We're at a breakthrough point for a date with destiny. Ah, there's Fragarak coming in. So this is the first jewel of the TUATHA DANNAN we need to quest for here to arrive at some truth, which will bring us the true victory. It also recovers a certain magic, puts that power back in our hands. And that is coming in with that full moon in Libra on April 12th, as signified by the raven, which is Libra on the medicine wheel there. Big breakthrough point in whatever this is. Interesting, because it's coming in with the number 39, breaks down to 12. So again, relating to that hanged man energy, there's going to be a breakthrough. So there's a sword of truth here that prevents you from being held up, is coming in with the energies of Mars and Uranus. So yes, something very unexpected here. It's a breakthrough moment that aligns one with their destiny. And I love that it's coming in with the energy of 3 there, okay? There's going to be like a sun-moon synergy. See that? So it's like that new moon, partial solar eclipse aligns with the light that breaks through with the full moon that comes in Libra on April 12th. This is when you'll start to see that star on the rise. There's a cycle that is completed there. And I'm seeing like cleansing rains falling down here. So yes, I love that, the way it really mirrored that energy, okay? And from there, you're able to just like float forward. It's like finally you have what you need to transform a holding pattern in your life. It allows you to cut through the illusion, perhaps even cut yourself out of an energetic bubble that's almost been projected around you because of certain projections of others that you unwittingly took on, right? Really good energy here, right? Ginkgo and Echinacea coming in there for both of those. For those of you herbalists out there who would like to do a little metaphysical research on these plants or study them. And if you don't know anything about them, you'd be surprised how much you can learn just from studying the plants that come in and how they speak to you and how they can assist you. You do not have to take them in. You do not have to imbibe them. They can be invited in as teachers, okay? So let's go ahead and see what we got here. Go to Cola. See, here is the star energy coming in, number 17. It comes in with strength, right? Comes in with strength with that new moon. It illuminates a very like shadowy area, and it helps you see something quite clearly. Helps you see something in Pluto's territory that you weren't able to see before. That brings great illumination. I feel like whatever this is, it will continue forward with the following full moon that comes in up to the Libra full moon, which will be in Scorpio on May 12th. So that April 12th, May 12th, energy of those two full moons, Libra, Scorpio, they are kind of mirrored full moons there, right? There's something that really is being brought to completion with a certain cycle that needed to be spent wandering through some pretty mean and heavy dark territory, right? To integrate some stuff. Now you're kind of rising above it. You're no longer experiencing this sort of like energy fragmentation caused by old trauma loops or things that used to hold you back in the past, or sort of false identities you took on because there wasn't a true knowledge of the self. It's almost like the seer within is being activated, the avatar, the Atman, and now you're like, oh, okay. There's a different kind of energy at the wheel here with higher consciousness. All right, what is the plant ally that wants to come through here? Okay, got it. We're just going to get this one. And then we're going to jump into a quest read here just to get some more details. I love this. Look at that. It's really mirroring the energy that opened up. There's the miraculous chalice that comes through. So yes, that extreme unction point, it's all going to pour through you. It's really beautiful how it's coming through that sun, new moon energy. So yes, that's really evoking that Aries new moon coming in on the 29th. This is when that first like inspiration, communication starts to flow through you that opens up the waterway, the way forward here, that carries you forward. It's coming in with blue lotus and the energy of 5. And that's very interesting because with that full moon in Scorpio on May 12th, it's coming in at 12:56 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which breaks down to 5, the Hierophant. So there's something being illuminated here for you intuitively that will help you resolve a matter that has been holding you in sort of like a shadow patterning for too long. It allows the light to break through. Very interesting. Blue lotus. So yes, intuition really activated at this time, carrying us forward. And it's so important because when we're looking at the Hierophant when it comes out is all about yes or no, depending on its orientation. And I do feel like there is something here that is kind of hanging in that balance. It could be a yes or it could be a total no. It depends on what you're able to see through your reflection. You know what I mean? There's something here you need to get to the bottom of and see clearly in order to move forward. But I do like that there seems to be this energy of forward progression, getting out of this holding pattern. But this is sort of the matter at hand with where we're at right now. You really have to trust your intuition. This is a new kind of flow. You can't strategize with this. And this is something we brought in before. Strategizing is much oriented around egoic desire and attainment. And so there's something here that can work on one level for material advancement, and we do have to employ strategizing when it comes to hitting certain material goals in our life, certainly, all right? But there does come a point when we're questing for the 4 jewels of the TUATHA DANNAN, where you really have to build a bridge between the head and the heart. And this is really about getting more into the intuitive nature. It's more dropping into that energy of lagos, which is the waterway that carries us forward. It's by being led forward in an elemental way where we mimic nature and we flow with those seasons, and we don't become so entrenched in our need to figure things out or have a plan that we strategize things to death and end up in this place where we're forever in chrysalis and we never get to break on through and get those wings and take flight. So there is a beautiful way to find this fulfillment, but in order to access it, we really need to attune to this energy of Blue Lotus. It is about bringing the solar and lunar energies into a place of balance, shadow, light, active, receptive, and there's really a need right now for more influence on the intuitive nature, the watery nature, the feelings, the subconscious, that sort of dream time energy, because perhaps there's been more fixation on the masculine, active avenue. I need to find a way, I need to make a way, I need to take action right now, and it's saying no. If you drop more into this receptive space, if you drop more into that flow, if you really listen to how the waters are speaking to you, how the emotions are speaking to you, how the intuition is speaking to you, how just your sensations, what you're picking up from the environment around you is speaking to you, it will show you the way through. And all you have to do is just let go. It carries you there. It carries you there, right? So Blue Lotus, all right? Dive into that a little bit if you want to get some more details there, some more guidance coming through for you personally. Because when we do our own research and we connect with these allies, it says something a little different to each of us. And that's what makes the magic our own. You know what I'm saying? These allies have different lessons for each of us, and that's sort of the beauty of it and why I like to bring that energy in. All right, we're going to bring in the Tarot of the Dragons for this quest read. I feel it's only fitting for first looking at the nature of the quest. I mean, I think we have a pretty good idea here, at least how it's going to be unfolding within the spring season. But yeah, look at affirmation coming in from the dragon. Again, yes, it's about the world. So this is the end goal. You will see the world in your eyes. You will be surprised when you get a true reflection of you, just what is possible. You're also going to see so many things coming to light that is quite a sight to take in. Around the world and back. And you don't have to move. You just sit there, okay? You just sit there and enjoy the ride. Stillness will carry you through, okay? It's very interesting how they pause, hold your horses with that 4 of Swords, remember, right? Because there does need to be something brought to a successful point of completion before you will see the way forward. And I do feel this way forward will be protected if you take those measures. Okay? So what is the nature of this quest for the collective moving forward here? What is the nature of this quest for the collective moving forward, Spirit? What's the nature of this quest moving forward for the collective, Spirit? Ah, I love it. I love how it's mirroring the energy. It's that Ace of Wands. It's to obtain the Spear of Lu ultimately that allows you to activate what's been gestating, bring it into form and taking that action. But we're not there yet, remember? We are not there yet. We won't be at that point until we arrive at that Sagittarius full moon on June 11th. That's when it really pops off. That's when things come into balance. That's when you have the power back in your hands. That's when you have the strength to overcome something that held you down in the past. And it's all because you've made it through the initiation. You've grokked the medicine of the high priestess. You entered the waterway. You trusted your intuition and you acted upon it. Okay. Very, very important here. That's what all these changes in the store are about. Okay. So it's coming in here. Nature of this quest for the collective. Nature of this quest for the collective spirit. Nature of this quest for the collective. The Four of Cups. You see, right now, in order to have the healing, the alignment that brings future celebration, you first need to be at that point of extreme unction. You know what I'm saying? Where you are the miraculous chalice. You have to let the water wave flow through you. So this is what this is about right now. There is this need to arrive at a place where you can have some kind of purification from the old set point of the consciousness so you can see the way forward more clearly. And that's through entering the waterway, but the waterway flows through you. So getting in touch with the more receptive side at this point, it will reveal the way and it brings alignment with some source of celebration. It's on the other side of what felt like a disappointment to you. But again, there's something that's not being seen accurately here. So this is what is going to be revealed. What is the nemesis or spirit ally for the collective on this quest leading up to that Sagittarius full moon? Okay, it is going to take investment of energy here, all right? And I feel like this is really speaking of what needs to be addressed on the root level. That message has been coming in so strongly. So until you resolve what has, been affecting the root of the matter here and really invest yourself in that work, there won't be this alignment that wants to come in with the Four of Wands. So this is pretty significant here. So I feel like this is speaking of, this necessity. We came in right behind that. We have the Hangman. So again, impeccable integrity. Like there's some truth that needs to be seen about something that it's caused that like root rot. Like there's something that's destabilized the roots of a situation that brings about some kind of alignment and celebration here. A huge arrival point, all right? But it's not possible until first the investment is made in treating the root problem, all right? That's really wild. Okay, any more details about this? Any more details about this, Barry? Any more details about this? What should be invested in here? It seems like the ally is the investment of the effort to get down to the root of something. Maybe you've been trying to avoid that. Yes, Two of Swords. Okay. So there's something that, you're trying to like conceal yourself from or block yourself from engagement with that is necessary in order to cut through something that is kind of, it's almost coming through as it's like it's veiled your energy. It's like you may be wondering why you're not having some kind of advancement, but there's actually something that's veiling your energy. I feel like there's something you took on here. You took on something. It could be some energy that was thrown at you. It could be energy that, you overly identified with, and then it became something that veiled you, concealed your energy. And so it's really not that complicated, actually. It's just like sort of seeing through that illusion, like, oh, I've taken on something, or I've identified with something that's actually not mine at all. And it's once you do that, then you can open up your wings, and your wings are already there. Remember that message that opened up? It's like there's something you already have here. Again, this is all leading up to the new moon in Aries on the 29th. I feel you'll get what you need at that point to be able to cut through the illusion that's been sort of blocking you from seeing the light that's already building here. Interesting. So I feel like really this is about you. How are you investing your energy? And what are you not looking at here? Because there's something you're not seeing. It's almost like it's right under your nose. So it feels like something you have to resolve here. What is the lay of the land? That came up really quick. More details on the lay of the land here, Barry. Death. It's like singing over the bones. It's like protecting something vigilantly that's already turned to dust. It's really got that sort of vibe here. It's like you're almost like staying in a season. I think that was a Sagittarian download that came in a while back, needing to master the seasons so the wheel can turn here. It's like almost being held in the season of winter when spring has arrived. What do we have here? Six of Cups. This needs to be really recognized in order to reclaim the cauldron of Dagda here. I think that's what this is really about. It's like there was some potential for great, deep fulfillment, nourishment, not just for you, but for many, that was spilled here, that was lost here. It was a disappointment. But there's something you're not recognizing. Like, it's almost like you keep thinking that, well, I need to obtain that through something outside of myself. But it's all in you. You're the one who holds the cauldron of Dagda within you. Within you. And instead you've like been strategizing, trying to achieve it through other means, other people, something outside of yourself. And it just keeps turning to dust because you're protecting something that doesn't lead to the birth energy. It leads to endings, repeat endings. It's not where the growth is. That's the lay of the land. You're walking through the valley of the shadow of death. Okay, what's the beef? What's the meat of the matter? What's the beef? What's the meat of the matter? You may have been navigating some really heavy endings. You may have been experiencing actual deaths. There may be people that have transitioned in your life. You may have experienced spiritual deaths, emotional deaths. I mean, I feel like you may have become overly identified with death. How it feels the energy of winter, the energy of decay, the energy of the freeze over, the energy of darkness. And there's a need to bring balance between those energies so you can really see the true lay of the land and what's before you. The beef is there hasn't been an investment in the work to be done. That's what's causing the problems in this situation, and it's squandering this new beginning that wants to arrive. This is why things are so slow.
And when we're looking at the deer energy as well, I mean, we have a stag here too, which for me really evokes the energy of the stone of destiny. But also deer medicine is about gentleness, you know. Deer medicine is very sensitive and is very aware of the shifts and changes in the environment. And it's a very sweet kind of energy. And there's something here where the investment has been in the wrong thing. And I feel like it's too much investment in like a certain strategy or trying to do something in a certain way that is actually spoiling. It's spoiling the magic and the opportunity and the blessing that wants to come through. It's not investing in the right thing also. It's investing in something that leads to repeated endings in one's life. From being overly identified with that. It's like having an attachment to a particular season, the season of endings, the season of deaths in one's life, the season of navigating the shadow. And this really needs to be shifted. It seems like this is what is causing all the conflict and is the meat of the matter for all the slowdowns, and everything seems to be just sort of held up here. And with this, we have the Seven of Swords in reverse. Do you see? Clutching onto a bone, clutching onto something already gone, needing to release this. See the energy coming through again. This is what's shrouded with the Two of Swords that's showing up there. Look at that. It's like self-betrayal by clinging to something that's already gone. It's sort of made you like an apparition in your life. Knight of Cups in reverse. So the cups spill. This is why there's been the holdup. There's something that's not being seen clearly here. I feel it's yourself. You're not seeing yourself clearly. It's more that you're sort of seeing yourself in relation to how others perceive you. And you may think on the surface, oh no, not me. I don't see myself the way others see me. But it's deeper than that. It's like, it's a lot deeper than that. This is something really at the root level, you know. X marks the spot. It's treasure that's held within an area of your root system here that is bound up by the dictates, the perceptions, the projections, the energy, the involvement, the interference of others. And yet it's something that is like, it's almost like a hologram, or it's got the vibes of like an apparition, like it's like smoke and mirrors. It's something that's already gone, but you got like a death grip on it. And that's why it keeps repeating like the same cycle of endings here. And this is what needs to be looked at, resolved. Look at that. 10 of Swords in the bones, like lay it to rest here. Then you reclaim your fire and you rise. You see that? That's pretty potent, okay? What are the consequences that we're going to have to deal with as a result of our past actions? What are the consequences we're going to have to deal with here as a result of our past actions? The consequences we're going to have to deal with here as a result of our past actions. The consequences we'll have to deal with here as a result of past actions. I like that. Okay, bottom of the deck, Queen of Swords. Finally acting on the truth, okay?
finally allowing new life to come in here as the basis of the matter like this. So this was sort of like, I can't tell if this is reversed or not. I won't know until I flip it up, but whatever this is, it was in a cross position and now it's heading in a particular direction. We'll find out which direction. See, look, it's that glamour, 7 of Cups heading down into the reverse. Okay. There's some kind of glamour, illusion, you know, energy signature that you've been held up in. And the new beginning will come once you gain frog rock, you gain your truth, and then you learn where you need to point its tip to get the answers you need. Once you get the answers you need, I mean, I have a funny feeling. It's like you got to point that tip at yourself. I'm hearing like live by the sword, die by the sword. Well, you've been dying by the sword again and again and again and again and again by mistaking something for truth when it's false. And now's your opportunity to live by the sword, right? And you do that, you break open that shell of potential. And then finally, you know, dreams taking flight here. So this is real beautiful energy. Real beautiful energy, but it does require coming out of some sense of illusion, some glamour, and in some cases, dropping options that aren't the source of fulfillment, that they speak to parts of you that have already transformed. And so you wonder, why do I keep kind of getting the same result? Well, you keep kind of going for what you always went for. And it's not who you are anymore. That's entertaining a part of you that's outdated, right? It's living in a past season of yourself. Okay, what is the power to be gained for the collective through self-mastery? What is the power to be gained for the collective through self-mastery? The world, finally bringing about that successful completion, seeing the world in your eyes. Oh, wow, look at that. You go from the 5 of Pentacles to the 10 of Pentacles. See, it's like you're living in this place of lack. You're living in this place of loss, or I somehow, you know, didn't get what was desired. It's like, no, you don't understand. All you did was relinquish the shadow. You relinquished the season of endings in your life. So now you can step into the beginning of the potential of the legacy. This is that gold of the TUATHA DANNAN that is so elusive, you know, that most never obtain because they get caught up in their own trickery. They get caught up in their own concealment of their destiny. We got the fox medicine there. Again, this is a real stealth influence. It's something that casts smoke and mirrors, you know, around your environment and has you seeing your path ahead through a distorted lens. It's not even the lens that you have on your reality tunnel. It's something that's been superimposed. But it wouldn't be superimposed if you yourself didn't identify with it. So regardless of whether you feel like, well, it was this person who said this about me, or it's this situation that influenced me in such a way, there's still the sovereign truth within yourself, and it's about whether you identify with that or not. So if you identify with it and then you end up taking it on as sort of your worldview, what's possible for you, you have to own that. And you have to figure out what part of me, where is that buried in my roots, that part of me that identifies with this state of lack, when this is really what's before me. The 10 of Pentacles. Isn't that wild? It like doubles the energy. Once you cut through the illusion, you see what's been there all along. Ooh, oh, that's potent. All right, well, what's at stake for the collective's party? Those who are meant to join them on this quest, what's at stake for the collective's party?
those who are meant to join him on this quest. It's a lot at stake. The sun, the dawn, okay? Again, I feel like Leo season will really be like the zenith of that. I mean, of course, Leo is ruled by the sun, but that's really how that energy is coming through. It's like the seeing of the fruition of the vision, you know, when it's evident, it really comes through in Leo season. That's pretty strong here, okay? What's at stake for your party? What's at stake for your party moving forward here on this quest? What's at stake for your party moving forward here on this quest? Collective, what's at stake for your party moving forward on this quest? What's at stake for your party? Interesting. Wow. Okay, that's interesting. Just the way that landed. That's funny that this comes up because what I was hearing sort of internally as I was shuffling is maybe it's not about focusing on the party right now, about others who will join you. It's more about retrieving your power here, calling your power back, getting back up after you experience something that felt like a real reversal or a last stand that you feel like, you know, brought you to your knees here. It's like you still have it in you. You do. You still have it in you. And you might even have like a spiritual protector here. You might have like a spirit ally that's sort of encouraging you, like, get up, get back up. Don't worry about what's run off from you. It was a false source of power. It wasn't your true power. Your true power is in you getting up. Take a stand for yourself here. Forget worrying about your party. What's essential, what's at stake for your party right now requires that you stand up. And that's something that will be revealed in time. But I do feel like you may be sort of prone to be concerned about things that have been quite unloyal to you. I mean, this is betrayal energy. It's almost like a betrayal of yourself if you focus on the party at this time. It's almost like you need to wait to have the vision of who those people are that are meant to journey forward with you. There are certain truths that need to be seen that haven't been seen yet. Once you see them, though, you'll know, who to stand by, who to take a stand for, and who will also, pick up these other two swords here and stand with you. And I think that's a key, okay? So there could be a couple people here of significance that are meant to join you on the road forward, but they're not here yet. And it's almost like your energy leads the way. So there's something here about, what are you going to do? Are you going to stay down or are you going to get back up? And there's a big yes to that. Because there's something here that's built to last, that needs to get grounded in reality. But it's not going to be set in motion until you take a stand and you stand in your truth. You got to stand up here. You got to get back up. What's at stake for your party totally depends on you. What's at stake for the new world that the collective wants to weave into being here? What's at stake for the new world that the collective wants to weave into being here? What's at stake for the new world that the collective wants to weave into being here? Three of Pentacles. The work that's to be done. Isn't that interesting too? The work that needs to be done. See, out of what's laid to rest, there comes the new beginning here. And I do feel like there's two others of significance that are meant to join you on the road ahead. But it's not until you finally lay those bones to rest that this will start to come into view.
And the only way that's going to start is by setting yourself free. The truth sets you free. There's something you need to see here. You need to see accurately. Then there's a way to transform the season of endings into the season of new beginnings. All right, let's see what we got here. What's the state of the new world that the collective wants to weave into being here? Ooh, she flipped up right in the middle of it at the High Priestess. The initiation into the waterway, right? It brings with it knowledge. It brings with it a treasure map that reveals to you where to find what you're looking for. X marks the spot. Again, with the new moon in Aries, X marks the spot. Pay attention. There's so much that's going to be revealed at that new moon that really gives you the map. It gives you the map. It gives you a lay of the land. You know, it shows you what direction you need to head in to go in search of your treasure here. But you're going to really need to trust your intuition. You're going to need to really engage your senses here to navigate this territory. And you also have to be willing, you know, to balance the shadow and light and to know that both are informing your way forward here. There's mysteries, there's certain potencies, there's certain answers to secrets that are found within the roots, within the more subterranean layers here. And especially in regard to something that's been in a fixed position for too long, that's been inhibiting the turning of the wheel. So there can be that completion of the cycle and the new beginning activated. All right. Right. Well, if the collective does this work, what's the cookie? What's the sweet reward? The collective does this work. What's the cookie? What's the sweet reward? The collective does the work. What's the cookie? What's the sweet reward? I really like the way this is coming out. Actually, it's interesting because it's like this, okay? And it's the Four of Swords. So it's sort of saying, again, there's this emphasis on not focusing on the outcome right now, not focusing on strategizing. Just be still, rest, integrate, you know? Allow certain truths to come to light here that will put heartache and grief behind you. And only then will it be time to move out of the position of rest and act on your truth. So it's not telling you about a cookie just yet. And I almost get that coming through as like a message that's saying maybe you've been too focused on that. Like, what do I get out of it? Or, you know, what reward do I get for all this that I'm doing here? There's something that needs to shift, and the focus is very important in this situation to align you properly. Yeah, Nine of Swords. Again, too much strategizing coming from ego generations connected to shadowy aspects that are operating at this subconscious level that's just, you know, dishing you one rough, you know, hand of fate again and again and again and again and again, and yet you're calling it your destiny. And it's not your destiny. It's a mirage. But there's something that only you can see through here. It's like you can't focus on what the cookie is when you keep thinking about, well, what is the, you know, what's the penalty box? What's the negative element? What's the negative force? It's almost like something really needs to shift here in what the mind is fixated on, because it's bringing unnecessary worry. It's like superimposing past experiences onto the potential of the future, and it's mucking everything out. That's how it's coming through. All right. What should the collective focus on? What should their target be so they can start to free themselves of this? What should their target be? What should their focus be help free them from this glamour so they can see accurately what they should be aiming for here. What should be the target of this campaign for the collective? Whoa, they're not playing. Wow, they are not playing. You know what they're saying to this Nine of Swords? The Tower. You need to do everything in your power to bring down this tower that keeps you living in, it's like living in purgatory. It's something that you're totally caught up in, but it's illusion. You need to turn it into a tower of power. Look, that fiery energy. This is about transforming something that you've been trying so hard to hold together or hold up when you should just let it come crashing down. Because what springs to life as a result of this dismantling of what's false is what brings about the new beginning. This is really dynamic, potent energy. Really dynamic, potent energy. It ain't plain. Let me do a cut of deck here for more details. Oof. And that right there arrives with Judgment on the scene, and the other side, the Fool. Wow. Very clear that there's nothing but these beautiful new beginnings on offer here. And the longevity to go the distance. And see, there's two here as well that are waiting. Waiting in the wings, I hear. Waiting in the wings. This is the sweetness of the bloom on the other side of the thorns. And Judgment in your favor, the way of the light opens up. But it's a waterway. First, you have to break through some shell of illusion that's kept this new growth, this new creative cycle, this new blessing beginning from coming in here. It's like breaking on through to the other side. Okay, now I have something special planned for you all because I've been reviewing some old readings and I'm like, oh, that was so fun. I really want to bring that back. I really want to bring that back in at the channel. So I'm going to take the Arcane DS deck here and I'm going to shuffle it. And we're going to divide it into 3 piles. These are going to represent basically 3 different gateways of initiation. You can view it as like pick your adventure, okay? And you're going to pick one, okay, as your choice for your entry point in this quest. And I'm not going to read the cards or anything like that. I will show the bottom of the deck energy, the top of the deck energy for each one. And then I'm going to start doing separate readings, okay, for each one. So remember which pile you choose and be on the lookout for your cards because I'm going to do separate readings for each to give you your sort of view it way ahead. Let you know what you're dealing with here. I just thought this would be fun, and I wanted to bring this in because it makes it a little bit more personalized for you. Okay, let me just do 3 more shuffles on here. There's 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to cut them into piles of 3 times. Really get them nice and mixed up here. Just to take out any energy from other reads we've done. Give us a clean slate to work with on the spring equinox. Okay. 3 gateways of initiation, 3 possibilities. Pick your adventure. All right. It will carry us through the 3 full moons that will be coming in and their lunar cycles. It's going to be for pile 3. It's going to be for pile 2, and then the one left over will be pile 1. I'll go ahead and pick keys for each too. So you can see what key you resonate most with here. Help you make your choice. Okay. This is the key for pile 1. This is the key for pile 2. And this is the key for pile 3. Okay. So, go ahead and choose. And now I'll just reveal the bottom and the top cards so you can kind of just let the imagery just marinate, okay, until the read comes out. I'll be bringing these out throughout the remaining days of this week, and I'll be bringing them in next week as well, okay? So just be on the lookout for these reads. So just let the imagery sort of sit with you and see what comes up for you around it, and I'm sure it will already start to reveal things to you. Bottom of the deck for pile 1, we have the provider as the basis of the matter. Top of the deck, a pit bull driving a tiny truck, right? So that's pile 1. Looks like a desire to get something moving forward there. Have the chariot arrive on the scene, okay? Pile 2. You have sex witch and octopus. Clingy matter you're dealing with there. And top of the deck, you have birthday corpse, all right? So looking for that rebirth energy, new lease on life, little levity. Might even have a birthday coming up. There could be somebody you're dealing with that has a birthday coming up here. Okay, pile 3. If you chose this key, bottom of the deck energy, random clip art, okay? It's a grab bag sort of energy, wild card energy here. Woo! And we got the sword hoarder, all right? So I got all the truths. I'm holding the line here, man. I'm holding it down. Where are the people that are supposed to be standing up and fighting with me, all right? That might be something kind of coming through. For those who chose pile 3, okay, so do look for these readings to come out. I will have, the imagery on the cover photo, the thumbnail for the video, and it will be also posted in the title, so you'll know which one is for you. But this is going to sort of tell you which road your quest is heading down here. It sort of carries these tones and themes, all right? I hope you enjoyed that. I really wanted to bring in something special for you all for spring equinox. A lot of big energies in play and a lot to look at, a lot to uncover here. I hope you got a lot out of it, and thank you for being here and celebrating another turn of the wheel and entering another new cycle with you all. I really appreciate you, and let's make some stuff grow, man. I'm ready. I hope you are too.